The history of Christianity, especially the history of European Christianity, has deeply influenced the growth of Western culture itself. In fact, the way Christianity understood the world even has had great impact on the way we understand, we meaning the non-Judaic people, understand Judaism. So the history of Christian understanding of both itself, that is a self-understanding of Christianity, and its understanding of Judaism, taken together, these have influenced the way Christianity has looked at the world, the Western culture has looked at the world over centuries. And the same framework of looking at religion has migrated into the secular studies or the secular domain of what we call Christian study, or secular studies of religion. Now, I want to draw your attention to something very important, which is that when we look at the history of social scientific theories and so on, we find that the way human society is looked at is itself very greatly influenced by Christian theology. Now, this is a process which I call secularization of Christianity, because the ideas of Christian theology have migrated to secular domains and influenced how people study questions which are not of religious nature. Let me just give you two examples. Consider, for example, the notion of conscience, moral conscience. Today, all of us, including Mahatma Gandhi, spoke about conscience as a little inner voice that speaks to us about moral rules, about judges us in ethical terms, and so on. But actually, for instance, to us Indians, or in fact to anybody who doesn't belong to the Christian religion, this notion of conscience could not possibly make sense, because this conscience was an idea which medieval theology developed and spoke in terms of the psychology of human beings, which included a faculty called conscience. And conscience is how God, remember, this is not any God, it is the Christian God, how God speaks to humanity and how He makes the humanity listen to His voice. And that is why, for instance, the conscientious objectors in Europe and the United States are taken seriously, because when they are object in the name of the conscience, that is, God is telling them to not to perform certain acts or to desist from performing certain acts. Now, this notion of conscience is today a part of moral and ethical theory itself. Now, the second element which I want to talk about, which I want to briefly mention, is the notion of human rights. If you look at theory, you see, the theory of human rights is a very interesting historical origin. They emerged for centuries long discussion between the Franciscans and the Dominicans in the Middle Ages. The discussion was actually about whether the church should own property or not, who owned the things in the world, and questions like these. And the secular theory of human rights that we know since John Locke, for instance, is nothing more and nothing less than taking over Catholic stories and making them into secular ideas. So this idea of John Locke has been secularized, and it has become the idea of human rights that we know. It is this that is enshrined in the UN Charter of Human Rights, an idea which has its origin in Christian theology, which has been secularized, which we all accept today.